This is a Manhattan Bound 7 local train.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Welcome, everybody, to a very special Breezy Takes Manhattan. We are going to talk some baseball today. I'm with my friend, Ryan Nahmais.
What's up? Hey, everybody. Happy to be here to talk some baseball.
As you can see, I'm a big Mets fan. He's a big Yankees fan. We have this rivalry in New York between these two teams. We have to pretend like we hate each other, but we both hate other teams more.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, here we are. And we'll just get right to it. So on this show, we're going to be predicting the top 50 free agents in baseball, according to this ESPN list, where they're going. And we'll even try to predict the exact contract, which is very hard. I expect me to get very little of these correct. It is very early in the offseason. There's just, Jeff Passan is tweeting out rumors right now. That's the stage of the offseason win, but we're not even at the winter meetings yet, so nothing's really happened, except some Yankee stuff's happened, and we'll talk about that.
Yes, it has.
Just to start, though, I mean, if you want to get us started, but how was the 2025 season for you, and what do you think need to do to improve?
Awful. Yeah, I mean, we went into the year. I mean, when you start the year with Garrett Cole needing Tommy John surgery, I don't know how you expect the year to be good, but I expected them to at least make some deals at the deadline to salvage things or to try to get starting pitching, and they went after bullpen pieces. I will give them credit, though, at least for this. The bullpen pieces that they did go after at the time, I thought were good moves. They were not. They all pitched like absolute garbage. Not a single one was reliable outside of maybe Bednar, but it was a rough season. I think I expected them to not even make the playoffs. The fact that they made it and then won a series, shocking to me.
Me too. I wasn't expecting them.
No. But the fact that they did it was good. It's a good start. I still think that we have the wrong pieces in place and the wrong personnel and coaching in place to win. The wrong GM. I think Cashman, he's great for what he did in the 90s. I don't think he'll ever lose his job for that. I don't think he'll ever lose it, but he should. I mean, it's so apparent since 2009, the Yankees have made the playoffs almost every season, but have not come back with a ring. So that's like more than a decade now where we've been doing the same thing. Cashman spends, he tries to compete. But the thing that's funny is in the last 5 years or so, Cashman will spend, but he won't go all in on spending. He missed out on Soto because of it. He missed out on Ohtani because of it. He missed out on a lot of different players because of it. And then all of a sudden there's this report this year that he's going to spend less than that he wants to be under $300 million. That's just not going to happen. I mean, look at what just happened with the Grisham.
They say that every year, though.
Yeah, they say it every year. I mean, I want to believe them. And it's like, okay, well, this year's not the year to do it because you still have LeMahieu on the books for a year. You have Stanton on the books. You have you just signed Grisham to a $22 million arbitration. Like, what are you doing with the Grisham deal? Nobody expected him to sign it.
At least Aaron Hicks is off the books, right?
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started on that contract. The Yankees historically have had some of the worst contracts in baseball history. Outside of the Mets and the Bobby Bonilla deal, but it's been it's terrible. I think we have a lot of money coming off the books next year, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do this year. Do they go all in this year, or do they kind of wait a year and push it to next year? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Cashman does, but I will say you're running out of time with the group you have. Judge is getting older. Stanton is in the last year of his deal. I think he's probably done after this year. Maybe he gets another 1 year deal. I hope not from us, but probably. And you have Cole getting older. I mean, it's an aging team, right? We're not like a super young team outside of Spencer Jones this year and Dominguez and Volpe. I don't even want to talk about that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting offseason, but the season itself this year, I was encouraged because they hit way better than anybody expected. I think they started the year on fire with the and they changed the whole game of baseball with the torpedo bats. I mean, that was something It's funny because when I played, we talked about that. I used to hit when I took hitting lessons with a bat that was bigger in the barrel and skinny on the sides, and we called it a tumor bat. But it wasn't called, we didn't call it torpedo bat, and nobody used them in games. It's interesting to see that happen and then kind of change the whole sport. And as a result, we saw a ton of home runs this year, a ton more home runs than we've seen in the past. I think was it like 5 years or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I feel about the Yankees. And it's not off to a great start, so that's extremely disappointing.
So if you had to pick one big move, what would you improve? The bullpen, the offense, or the starting pitching?
Okay, this might be a hot button topic, but bullpen's very important. But I think you get yourself a closer. Outside of a closer, the rest of it can be pieced together. I mean, we've seen Yankee bullpens throughout the years, throughout their championship run in the 2000s and in the late 90s, where they had Rivera, and outside of that, they pieced together bullpen pieces. So I don't know how important it is to go out and spend for big bullpen arms other than like one closer. I think you can piece it together. The Yarborough $2 million deal, that was a great deal.
That was a good deal, yeah.
He can start, but he's probably going to come out of the bullpen, which I like. I think if I could see them make one move, I'd like to see him get another starter. I think they have a really good rotation coming back. But I think they're like Rodon is great, but he's not an ace. You have Cole, and who knows how Cole's going to come back. He could come back and be terrible. I don't know. Having Tommy John in your 30s.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
We'll see. I hope he's good. And then you have Fried. But in an ideal world, if I could see them get any player on the planet, I'd like to see them trade for Paul Skeens. He wants to be in New York. There's been a lot of buzz. I don't know if it actually realistically happens. Probably doesn't. But if I could see one move happen, that would be the move.
Yankee fans always think they're entitled to the best players, don't they?
What can I say? We expect greatness.
Yeah, okay. I don't even really want to spend a lot of time talking about...
No, I want to hear you talk about the Mets.
The colossal embarrassment that is the New York Mets. That has always been the New York Mets. That always will be the New York Mets. It's funny. For those of you who saw my regular podcast about a couple months ago, I already ripped into the team quite a bit. What is there left to say? This was not a bad baseball team. I've seen bad Mets teams. Bad Mets teams were 2012, 2013, 2014 under the Will Ponzis, where they didn't have any talent. This was a talented baseball team that was absolutely gutless to their core. They could not win games against bad teams. They lost the series in September to the Marlins, to the Nationals twice.
How about the last game of the season?
One more game, they would have been in the playoffs.
I know.
This was a team that did not come back in the ninth inning when trailing one time all season. I don't know what. You play baseball. Was it a lack of leadership? Is it a lack of the clutch gene?
It's hard, right? Because when you go down in a game, especially late in a game, it's tough. It's tough to come back. Sometimes even a run, it's a lot of work. Got to rally around the guys. It's also about the work you put in and the coaches that you have. You have to be resilient. You have to learn how to hit with 2 strikes. There's a lot of small ball aspects of it, and the Mets did none of it. Not a single thing.
Which is amazing because the year before, with many of the same players, they were one of the best teams in the league coming back from the ninth inning. And even god-awful baseball teams like the Rockies and the Marlins and the White Sox came back in the ninth inning.
Yeah.
Just the gutless, heartless Mets couldn't. And we'll talk about it more, but there's very few players on the roster I would absolutely keep.
So if you could do one thing as a Mets, if you were the GM of the Mets and you could make one big move, just like you asked me, what would it be?
I'd like to say offense because they definitely still need more, but they need a legitimate top of the rotation arm.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about who some of the names could be. I don't think it'll come via free agency, though.
It's got to come via trade because they're already talking about trading Senga, too. So,
I know. And that, they'd have to get something for him. I don't want them to just give him away, but clearly they're frustrated with him. I was frustrated with him.
It's extremely underwhelming.
I feel cursing him out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
They need to, if it were up to me, that offensive core that's been in place since 2021 of Lindor, McNeil, Nimmo, and Alonso, they have to be blown up. Because
Alonso's gone. And I think there's a 0% chance he signs with the Mets again.
Not 0, but
I gave it 0.
That would be the right move because, like,
No, I think it is.
That core of those four: McNeil, Nimmo, Alonso, Lindor. 2021 they collapsed, missed the playoffs. 2022 they were great for most of the season, but the last week collapsed against the Braves. They couldn't win one game in Atlanta, and if they had won one game, they probably would have won the division and not had to play in the wild card series where they lost against the Padres. 2023 total collapse, failure, awful season. 2024 they got into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth because Lindor had a monster year. And I don't think Lindor's not the problem with the Mets. He's part of the solution, I think. He cares a lot. He was almost in tears when they lost.
Locker room guy. He's always has been. Everybody likes him.
The problem is he's not, and I don't consider him to be. I don't think he's the right leader for them. He's not.
He's not the player he used to be. He's dropped off.
No, he's getting old. I mean,
but look at his average. His average. He had a great year this year, and I'm not, but his. I think what you can do. This is what we've always know. A lot of baseball people have always recognized about hitters is you can see their age in their average. When their average drops, that tends to be when they get older. Like Goldschmidt, right? Goldschmidt has always been a great average guy. So yeah, I guess you could also say power falls off too for aging guys. But I think you really like the big guys always will hit. Like Stanton will always hit for power, I think. But I think yeah. I mean, I think you can tell when a guy falls off when he stops hitting for average. And Lindor, like I think it's over the past couple seasons I was seeing he's been dropping like by 20 points at least in average.
I think his average was actually he had a very similar year.
Was it higher this year though? I thought it was down 20, like about 20 points.
I think it was his numbers were very similar from this year to the year before. His OPS went from like 840 to 812.
Well, he's also not stealing as many bags anymore either.
Yeah,
and that's
and his defense too. His defense was not good this year.
Yeah, and a lot of that is an age thing.
Yeah, but I think in 2024 he had an 840 OPS. He had 33 home runs. This year he had 31, 812 OPS. He's still a solid player.
No, I mean it's still a guy to build around, and you're gonna have to. Now. I mean, you're gonna have to. You committed a lot of money and a lot of time to him, so
they sure did.
Guy. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to drag this on too long. So let's get to the meat of the issue here. Our predictions. Top 50 free agents. Some of these guys are already signed, which is amazing.
Are they? Well,
a couple of them took the qualifying offer.
A couple, yes.
Yeah. Rafael Iglesias signed today.
I saw that. 1-year deal.
And I was actually going to predict he'd go back to the Braves, so I would have been right.
I thought he'd go back too.
Yeah.
There was no chance he was leaving.
All right, can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
All right, so we're going to start at the very top. Or if you start at the bottom, what do you think?
Let's start at the bottom. We'll work our way up to the big
guy. Let's start at number 50.
All right, scroll all the way down.
Yeah, I don't even want to look, right? All right, we're going to start at number 50, Justin Verlander. Coming off a year with the Giants where he was pretty horrid the first half, but pretty good the second half.
And I think that the question is how much is left in the tank with him, right?
I wouldn't believe in him. We saw what happened with the Mets where he wasn't actually that terrible, but it was the same guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's an end of the rotation guy. I honestly, if I think he goes anywhere, he probably gets a minor league deal somewhere. And I think it's a minor league deal it'll be a minor league deal with like a vesting option, maybe for an incentive if he gets called up. But I think actually, I was thinking about this earlier. They're talking about Detroit buying people, but they don't want to spend a lot of money. So, and we tend to see a lot of the time with these like Hall of Fame type older pitchers, they go back to the team they started at the end of their career. I could see Verlander, number one. I could see him in Detroit. I could see him as the end of the rotation piece there.
That'd be a great story.
Maybe a 6th starter. I could see that. And then the other fit I thought was the Astros. I think both of those are teams that don't typically spend a ton, and they're looking for a pitcher that can help the end of the rotation or be a 6th starter. I don't see him going. I don't see him I don't see him on like a. Since I saw Cincinnati, I don't see him on like a Cincinnati. I don't think he fits there. I don't think he fits on the Mets.
On a bigger market that has a chance to win.
Well, you think he fits in the Mets? I mean, that's another, I guess, potential spot. But I don't see.
I don't want to go backwards. I never like to go backwards, but I'm going to make my prediction. I actually think he's going to be Toronto Blue Jay. They're losing.
Really?
They're They're losing Chris Bassett. I think Verlander wants to win. It could be his last year. I think he's going to Toronto. I think they'd be a good fit.
My only concern with that is they already have an aging guy in Scherzer that they haven't.
The agent, though.
Oh, he is? I didn't know that. I thought he had another. I thought it was a 2-year deal. So, okay, you're right. I mean, he could easily come back or go to Toronto. I could see Scherzer going back there too, though.
Yeah, totally.
Especially with how he pitched in the postseason. I don't know. I could see it. I feel like the Tigers makes a lot of sense, at least to me. But
is that your pick?
That is my pick. Is the Detroit Tigers? I think Verlander goes there.
Okay.
All right, we're moving to 49.
Yeah, Willie Castro.
These utility guys are so hard because
I don't know much about him, honestly.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was with the Cubs last year and had a horrid season. He's he's always been. I think aside from like maybe 2 years in Minnesota where he was like pretty legit, he's always been kind of a fill-in utility piece. So a team that needs an infielder, utility guy, like the Reds maybe could use another utility infielder rotational piece. The Dodgers, I think, could be a fit also as like a cheap.
I like the Reds because he played in the NL Central. They're from
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to say he's going to be a Red. I think that's a good choice.
You know what? I think I'm going to say he goes to the Dodgers because the Dodgers need another they like these cheap infield rotational veteran guys, and I think he fits there. And Willie Castro's a switch hitter, which the Dodgers need. I think that they need a switch hitting bat. I think they've wanted that for years. So I think it makes sense. Because I think isn't Rojas coming off the books? I'm sure he'll go back there, but I think this makes sense.
Okay, and I'm going to stick with Cincinnati. All right, who's 48? Sir Anthony Dominguez, Blue Jays reliever. I mean, see, like stuff like he could be any contender. He could be anybody.
Yeah. I say he stays with the Blue Jays. He had a decent year, and I don't know. I mean, really, any team could sign him. I could see him going to the Mets to improve the bullpen too. I could see him going back to the Phillies where he was years ago. I mean, any of those three makes sense to me. I think if I had to pick one, I think he stays in Toronto, probably.
This is hard. It's hard for a guy like this.
It's anywhere.
He could go. He could literally go to. He could even go to a team that's not a contention because that's sometimes where relievers go.
Yeah, I mean, a team like Oakland too, I guess makes sense if you think about it. They're trying to buy players and they're moving to Vegas.
They're such a joke.
I know, but I don't know. The push to Vegas could make them. I mean, they got a good core group of guys too there.
You know, some of these I'm just gonna have to guess. How about does Arizona need relievers?
Yeah, but Arizona's selling. I don't see them as a buyer. I mean, unless this is a cheap veteran, like I said, like maybe minor league or 1 year cheap deal.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Say he's going to Arizona.
Okay.
Just I feel like there's so many random signings always that you have.
No, there is every year.
Yeah. All right, but this is based on nothing at all. All right. Next, we have Caleb Ferguson.
I don't even know what kind of year he had. I know he was in the back end of the Mariners bullpen and was pretty good in the postseason. I have no idea. This is another guy like Dominguez that can go just about anywhere. I think Caleb Ferguson is a lefty, and I'm trying to think of a team that needs like a lefty arm out of the bullpen. I could honestly see him. He pitched for the Dodgers before. He's pitched for the Yankees before. Right. I could see him going back to New York to the Yankees. I think it makes sense. It's a cheap buy and it's a lefty arm. Although the only thing is we just signed Yarborough, so maybe that doesn't make sense. You know what? I'll say he stays in Seattle. I'll say it's a guy that stays. That's
what I was going to say. I think they were so close to winning the pennant. Why not? You know, they're not going to probably now that they got Naylor. They're probably not going to spend on anyone else. So why not just keep the team you have, right?
And also, lefty relievers are very rare, especially good ones. And so I don't see
that we're supposed to say the contract, but
that's That's too hard. That's way too hard.
Well, you can do that higher up.
Yeah. The higher up ones, that'll make
Yeah,
sense.
I'll tell you when we reach the point where we'll do that. But yeah, I think he stays.
All right.
Ha-Sung Kim declined his player option.
I don't know if he actually even gets a deal. If I'm being completely honest, he might get a minor league deal somewhere, but he played horrid for the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, he's a Gold Glove caliber defender. That's never been the question for him. In San Diego, he was fantastic. And then he went to, but he couldn't hit there. And then he went to Tampa last year and did not hit. He got designated for assignment, and the Braves picked him up. And he did nothing for the Braves either. I don't think I think maybe a team takes a shot at him for defense, but it's very hard. I don't even think he gets a deal. That's
he declined his $16 million player option.
He had a player. I don't know why he declined a player option. That also doesn't make sense.
Him or his agent must think he's getting more.
That or he doesn't want to play for the Braves anymore.
I mean, I wouldn't either.
Yeah. I mean, they're
Braves.
They're a train wreck. So, all right. If I had to pick a team, like a super random team that like is buying people cheap, and could use a shortstop, I think the Texas Rangers maybe, because the Rangers have been rumored they're shopping around Seager, and if they need and Simeon, it plays second. I mean, they could slide Simeon over, but this kind of makes sense, I guess. So I'm going to say the Rangers, and there's no logic for it.
I'm going to say that he is going to go to, I mean, you want to talk about, I think he's going back to San Diego because I think they're going to trade either Tatis or Machado because they need to cut salary.
They should trade both of them, but I heard that they aren't going to trade Tatis.
And he did well. He did well in San Diego, right?
He did. He was pretty good defensively, but I think he's like a 220 average hitter or something. So he never has hit very well. So
I bet he finds his way back there.
I could see it.
Yeah. We don't know. We're totally guessing.
Some of these these smaller ones are harder.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're doing it. It's hard.
Yeah.
All right, Steven Matz.
Somebody should write these down because I'm curious how accurate we actually get. Probably not going to be accurate at all.
Well, we have this. We'll keep a record.
That's true.
If I get more than one, if I get one correct, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Steven Matz, the former Met failure, went to the Cardinals, was trash, but had an okay year for the Red Sox, right? Last year. He was
pretty good.
Yeah, 3 ERA.
Yeah.
I really have no idea where he's going. But if I had to guess.
A team that needs cheap starters.
Well, I think he was a reliever last year.
Was he?
But
I think he started at the end of the season for them, though. So this is a guy like Yarborough that can pitch out of the bullpen, but can also be a back end of the rotation guy. I'll let you go first. I'm
going to say Baltimore. They've been looking to buy. They're rumored to be in on people. I have them signing people higher on the list, but I don't know. Good project for them. Guy with upside.
I will stick with the AL East. I think he stays with Boston. Boston liked him. They don't know. I don't know what's going on with Tanner Houck, what they're going to do with him. So they probably need a cheap end of the rotation, back end of the bullpen guy, and he fits. He was good for them last year. I don't see them. I see him bringing him back, maybe 1 year deal or something.
They should keep him.
Yeah.
Luis Suarez was surprisingly not given the qualifying offer by the Padres. He is as we know, a contact hitter. This is the first one I'm going to say. I think he's going to the New York Mets. They had interest in him last year. He did not get a qualifying offer, and the Mets are a team that desperately needs more contact hitters in the lineup. I don't think he'll cost a ton in average annual value, and I think certainly if Jeff McNeil goes, they could use a veteran at second base who could play a little bit of first, who could DH. So I believe Luis Suarez will be a New York Met.
That's a good fit. That's honestly where I would probably put him. He's still one of the best average hitters. I think he's one of the best pure hitters in baseball.
Yes, he is.
And he fits anywhere. You could literally take him and drop him anywhere. He doesn't really fit with the Yankees just because I don't think I could see it, but I don't
I'm
think
not forgetting McMahon. I don't think
there's too many lefties in the lineup for the Yankees because that I initially thought of Yankees or Mets. Honestly, I could see him going and fitting a team like the Rockies that buys cheap and buys contact guys.
I mean, that would make no sense, but they've done stuff before that.
They've done stuff before, all right? And so I could see that. I was going to say Chicago, but the problem with the Cubs is that Nico Horner blocks that spot for him.
They're going to need a lefty, though, to replace Tucker.
You know what? You know who else I could see who does these end of the because this is going to be the back end of his career, probably maybe the last contract.
Yeah, he's 28. I mean,
is he? Oh, he's only 28. I don't know.
Yeah, it says right there.
Oh no, it says Okay, so he's 28. So he's not that old.
I was going to say he might get like a 4-year deal for like $42 million or something like that.
I was going to say Pittsburgh buys these end of the career guys, but if he's 28, then he's probably not going there.
I could see Pittsburgh because if they want to kind of bring in someone, but not spend a lot.
Right, is that they want to surround Skeens with a winning culture if they're going to keep him. So you know what? I'm going to say Pittsburgh. I think it fits. I think it makes sense. I would say the Pirates.
Nice. Pirates are on the board for the first time.
Pirates
I have the Mets. Zach Littell.
Yeah. This is a tough one because he was traded at the deadline and Cincinnati thought they were getting a guy that was going to be an innings eater, low ERA guy, and he pitched he didn't pitch horribly, but he didn't pitch great. He pitched horribly in the series against the Dodgers. This is a tough one. I actually think he makes sense in Toronto a little bit. I could see him going to Toronto. I don't really see another fit. Toronto makes a lot of sense. Maybe the Red Sox. Those two teams for me, I think make the most sense. So I'm going to say, if I had to pick one, I'm going to say probably I'm going to say Boston because Boston makes a lot of sense.
I already picked Toronto as having someone, right?
Yeah.
Who did I pick? Let's see.
I think you said Verlander.
Yeah. So then in that case, they wouldn't sign both. I could see him. Wouldn't shock me if he goes back to Cincinnati because they like cheap.
Yeah. That's why Boston fit for me.
I could see the Cubs because he was a Red. Cubs want pitching. He's cheap. I'm going to say the Cubs.
That's a good fit.
Yeah. Okay, next. Horacio Iglesias back with the Braves.
He's back with the Braves.
He got a lot. He got 1 year 16, so he got a lot more than this projected.
Well, they project 2 years 18. Oh yeah, 2 years 18. Yeah, they're a little off on that one.
Yeah, so I actually thought he would go back there.
How old is he though now? He's 36. Yeah, this is got to be the last year, probably.
Yeah. All right, next. Cody Ponce.
I have no idea who that is.
He's pitched in.
Oh, he's a KBO. He pitched for the KBO last year.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Ponce pitched in AAA. I could be wrong, but I think he pitched for the Orioles years ago. Or maybe he's the guy that never played. I don't know.
Says he was a Brewer second-round pick and pitched for the Pirates.
Okay, I was way off. I remember.
I'm going to give a random one here. I think the Chicago White Sox because the Cubs, the Cubs signed a lot of Asian players, so why not the White Sox?
I don't actually think he's a white dude. I could be wrong though, but I feel like I remember him pitching.
Yeah, but he came from
Asia, so you're right. The pipeline fits.
Yeah, not that he's Asian.
I'm gonna say the Pirates. They like to take these shots on these weird pitchers. I'm gonna say the Pirates. It's a cheap buy for them. Yeah, that's two Pirates in a row.
Pirates is big spenders right now.
I know. Well, that's two little moves. I mean, this is two little moves.
Moving to Ice is a batting title. That's a big move.
Yeah, no, you're right. So that's two. That's two Pittsburghs.
All right, next. Phil Maton.
I think he stays in Texas. The Rangers love this guy. He was pretty solid for them last year. I think the Rangers buy him again. I mean, it's probably the last year of his career too. Maybe he gets one more. He's gonna be 34. It says 33, but I think he's turning 34. You would assume, 30. He's probably done at 34, 35.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he gets a 2-year deal. I don't know.
I think he's going to actually be a Philadelphia Philly. They always have bullpen issues.
I could see it. Their bullpen sucks.
It sucks every year.
Yeah.
They saw him with the Mets a couple years ago, where he pitched pretty well. I think he's going to be a Philly.
Okay. Phillies are on the board.
Yeah, but again, this is very random, obviously. Adrian Hauser.
This is a tough one because he had some really good years in Milwaukee. And
He's
then
an analytic darling.
Yeah, and then he fell off. I don't know how he pitched for the Rays last year. I didn't pay enough attention to it, but he's always been like a 4 ERA career guy who makes occasional good starts there. Tampa could keep him, although I don't really see it. You know what? I could see Houston buying this. Maybe they need another righty arm. I'm gonna say he goes to Houston.
That's a good one, but I'm gonna say very random. He's gonna go to the Washington Nationals.
Whoa.
Because
that's a good fit too.
They'll randomly sign someone. They always do.
Yeah, they always buy these cheap guys too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say Washington Nationals. All right, 38. Kyle Finnegan. He was a National, right?
Yep, he was the Nationals closer for a couple years there.
I bet he goes back. I'm going to say he goes back there too.
Really?
I'm going to have the National signing
Back to
38 and
back,
39.
So Finnegan is very good. He actually he had a rougher time in Detroit, but he was very good for the Nationals for a long time.
Yeah.
He's probably a setup guy at this point of his career. I don't think he's a closer anymore. Unless he's signed somewhere strange. I could see Finnegan going to the Phillies. I think that makes sense. I think they need bullpen.
That would make sense.
I'm going to say he goes to Philly.
Again, we're throwing darts at the wall here.
Well, this is all darts. That's why I'm curious.
It's fun if we get any of them right. It'll be fun.
I know, for sure.
Emilio Pagan. Oh, well, we'll see how you feel about this. I actually believe he's going to be a New York Yankee.
Really?
I think he's a good fit.
It's a hard one. I could see it. I think he goes back to the Giants. He pitched for the Giants, I think, years ago. I could be wrong.
Giants are also a good fit, yes.
Yeah, I could see him going back to the Giants. They need bullpen. They need a little bullpen help. So I'm going to say the Giants. Really for no reason at all other than I think it fits.
I think he replaces because they're losing. Well, they might bring him back, but assuming they lose Devin and Luke Weaver, I think the Yankees could use an arm. I think
they could. They could.
Would you be happy if they signed Emilio Pagan?
Yeah, I mean, like I told you, as long as you buy bullpen pieces at a cheap cost, I mean, they're projecting 2 years, 22. So you sign him at like a 1 year, $10 million contract. I don't hate that. I think I don't know. I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah. So I had the Yankees on the board. You don't have them on the board yet, right?
No, I do not.
All right. I'm sure you will as we get higher.
Yeah.
Brad Keller, I have to be honest, I have no idea where he's going.
Brad Keller was a starter for the Royals for years. He was like this end of the rotation guy, and then he signed in the offseason with the Cubs and is a very much like a cheap end of the rotation guy. I don't know how he pitched last year. He's 30. I don't think he pitched well, but
if he's 36, he must have. If he's 36 on this list.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the start. I mean, you'll see as you scroll up. I mean, he might have pitched in the bullpen for the Cubs too. I'm thinking. This one, I think he goes back to Kansas City, and I because Kansas City has like a history of bringing back people that they had that pitched decently at a cheap rate for them. I could see him going back to Kansas City, and we don't have the Royals on the board yet, so. There you go.
Do I have Pittsburgh on the board yet or only you?
I think it's just me because Pittsburgh fits here too.
I think Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Again, it's random, but they need pitching.
Yeah.
He's been in the division. Wait, no, he hasn't. Yeah, he has. He's been in the division. They also have Mitch Keller, so now they can have two Kellers.
Yeah. Although I think Mitch Keller may get moved in the offseason.
Well, they'll replace him with Brad.
Yeah. They always keep a Keller on their roster.
So I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
Okay.
It's Brad Keller. All right, next. Michael Soroka.
He used to be so good. His first year, his rookie year with the Braves, he was.
I remember.
Then he went to Washington and just was not good there.
I'm gonna say for this, it might depend on if they send away Senga or other people. I think he's gonna be a Met.
I think the Mets fit very
They
well.
had interest in him, I remember, and
Yeah.
they signed like Griffin Canning last year. I feel like this is a Griffin Canning type that David Stearns will be all over.
Yeah, I think Soroka makes sense, and that's what I was going to say is the Mets.
Really?
If it's not the Mets, I think he goes back to Chicago. I don't think I have Chicago on there. I could also see him going to the White Sox. That's another one.
I could see him going anywhere.
Yeah, I think the Mets, though. I think we're both going to say the Mets on this one.
So you have the Mets on the board.
I do.
Nice. I have them twice now.
Yeah.
Luis Rice. All right, next. Robert Suarez.
That's this. So this is a big name reliever. Well, it used to be a big name reliever. Had a really bad season this year for San Diego. I think
opted out of his contract,
and I think he lost the job at the end of the year. If I'm wrong, I may be wrong, but I'm trying to like read the bottom. Yeah, he'll post like a low to mid threes ERA, and he's a good back end of the bullpen piece. This screams Phillies to me on this one. They need a righty. They need a righty that shoves in the bullpen. I think this one makes a lot of sense for Philly. I know I have them already, but I think this one makes a lot of sense with like Finnegan and Suarez as two good ads.
I'm going to say getting them on the board, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think they've seen him with the Padres. I think they'll sign him and another arm that will.
And they do, and I think if they do need something, it's bullpen. So, they always want they need an outfielder too. I think,
but Suarez wouldn't shock me if the Yankees or Mets were in on him. It wouldn't shock me.
No, I'd like the Yankees to be in on him. I think it's a good fit.
Wouldn't shock me if the Giants were in on him.
We have the Yankees. They'll have a lot of righties in the bullpen.
Angels could be in on him too. Guy.
I could see that. We haven't put them on anybody either.
Nope. But I'm going to say Dodgers.
Okay.
Because they'll want to stick it to the Padres, I feel like.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. All right, next. Number 33. Brandon Woodruff, he took the qualifying.
He re-signed, I saw. As he should have.
Yeah, Harrison Bader. This is an interesting one. I've seen some crazy numbers thrown around for him.
How old is he now? 32? 31? I think he gets a 2-year deal somewhere.
I think he can get 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, I think he gets a 2-year deal.
And everybody needs a center fielder.
You need to look at a team that needs an outfielder and probably one that's more defensive than offensive.
Yeah.
To me, a team that actually fits that we just talked about is the Angels. They have Joe Adell in right, Joe Adell's been playing a lot of center, but I don't think they see him as a center fielder. They have Trout, but I don't know. Trout would probably move to left. So you have left and right, and they just traded
Taylor Ward.
They traded Taylor Ward, and I think it opens the door for a center fielder. And I think Bader fits there.
I think you're right.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Let's go together, Angels.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Deductive reasoning. That's it.
Yep. That's all we have.
All right, Polanco. He's a good hitter. A team that needs a second baseman as well.
If I didn't pick Arias, I'd say the Mets, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, the Mets make sense a lot.
I'm not gonna have them sign both though.
Honestly, the Yankees liked him. I think last year or whenever he was. I could see him going to the Yankees. Yeah, I'm going to say he goes to the Yankees. I'll put our team on the board. I'd like to see them get Polanco. I think it's a good bat to have. I'm
going to say he's going to be the bat that you have them signing Luis Arias. I say they sign Polanco. It's the Pirates.
The Pirates. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If they sign Polanco and Arias goes to the Mets, that does make sense.
Arias is going to the Mets.
I think I told you if it wasn't the Mets, it's going to be Pittsburgh.
It's a done deal.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see.
All right. Next. Tyler Rogers. I believe he was going back to the Mets for 2 years, about $20 million. I think David Stearns has shown that he likes to re-sign his own guys. They re-signed Winker last year. They re-signed Ryan Stanek, even though they shouldn't have. So I think they gave up a lot to get him too. They gave up Jose Butto. They gave up Drew Gilbert. I think Rodgers will be back with the Mets.
I think he stays with the Mets too. It just for everything you said, it makes.
I think it's either Mets or Giants. Or he goes back to the Giants.
Well, I was gonna ask, where's his brother? Is his brother still in the Giants? Because he likes to play with his brother. He said it multiple times.
I think his brother got traded years ago.
I don't know where his brother is. But I think he stays with the Mets.
Yeah,
so.
and I like him. I would want him back. So I'd welcome that.
All right.
Yeah, that was easy.
Very easy.
Ryan O'Hearn.
This is a tough one because he can fit anywhere.
How about the Yankees? Lefty first baseman?
If they're going to go cheap, this is the route you go. But I don't think they're going to go cheap at first base. I think they go for Alonso. It makes too much sense. But yeah, especially, I mean, with Bellinger leaving, you probably need a lefty bat. So this does make sense there.
We'll see if I have Bellinger leaving.
Oh, yeah, that
might be the problem. I can't pick them. If they're signing Bellinger, they're not signing O'Hearn.
No, and if they're signing Bellinger, they're not going to get Alonso either. If they could, that would be crazy, but I don't think so. I think they spend on one guy and then piece the rest together.
Maybe Baltimore signs O'Hearn to be a kind of platoon with Mountcastle.
Well, that's where he was originally.
Oh, he came from there?
Came from Baltimore, yeah. And he was a platoon for Mountcastle. It's exactly what they did.
I don't think they're going to go backwards.
I don't think they go back to that. I was listening on the radio, a team that they said was a good fit, but I can't remember off the top of my head. No, I want to say...
You know what? I know where he's going. Cubs. They need a lefty bat.
That's exactly what they were saying. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I say the Cubs.
I think it makes way too much sense. The Cubs to buy a lefty first baseman with Tucker leaving with the lefty bat. That makes sense. I think he goes to the Cubs.
It's going to be.
I actually think that's a done deal. I heard it on MLB Network. I don't see him going many other places.
Done. Signed. Sealed. Done.
Easy.
All right. That's 2 done deals we have.
Luke Weaver.
He's going to the Mets. The Mets have shown that the Mets like to sign ex-Yankees. They signed Clay Holmes. They signed Luis Severino.
I could see it.
He's going to the Mets.
I just said that I think he stays, but I think I changed my mind because the Yankees were so unhappy with him this year. Yeah. I don't think he returns. He clearly showed that he can't deal with the pressure of pitching in New York anymore. This is a guy that I think makes sense in Texas for the Rangers. They like the bullpen. They like bullpen guys. I think it's the Rangers. Probably one of their bigger spends that they make is a bullpen guy. I think he goes to the Rangers.
And I say the Mets.
All right.
I think.
That makes sense too because they do always buy Yankee guys.
Yeah, if they bring it's that.
Plus, Weaver used to be a starter earlier in his career. I could see the Mets using him as both,
like Clay Holmes.
Yeah, I can do it.
And even if they bring Rodgers back, they wouldn't need another arm below the closer role.
No, I think Weaver's a good fit in either place. Yeah,
I see the Mets. So I have the Mets twice now. Arrive.
Yeah, 200. I've been giving Mets a couple times, but I think Weaver makes sense in Texas. But
Nick Martinez,
he sucks. Hate to say it, he sucks.
Well, he's a 27th ranked free agent.
I know, but I think he stinks. I don't think he's good. I've watched him pitch plenty times against the Dodgers in person at Dodger Stadium. He pitched pretty well in the playoffs against the Dodgers. He didn't pitch terribly. I just don't think he's good. I think a team like Washington or I think Washington makes sense. I think the Rangers make sense. Or not the Rangers. Washington, the Rays. We haven't said anything about Tampa. I could see him going to Tampa. Yeah. I could see him going to the White Sox, one of those bottom teams that need inning eaters. I could see the Cubs too, but I'm going to say he goes to the Rays. We don't have the Rays on the board. I think he goes to the Rays.
I'm going to say he goes to the Padres to replace. They're losing Cease and King, so
yeah,
pitcher.
It's possible too. I didn't even think about that.
We need a cheap pitcher.
Although they're not losing Cease, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you're right. Let's wait to see what your prediction is. I think he's going to the Padres.
Okay.
All right. 26. Marcelo, this is an interesting one. He's a good player. He had the domestic violence. He really honestly should be in prison, but that's another story.
His wife beat him up really
His
bad,
conduct
which
was
also we probably shouldn't talk about. But go ahead.
no, his conduct was
No,
unacceptable.
but you know his wife beat him up too, though.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, he had a cast on his arm, and she beat him.
He did stuff too, right?
Look up if you guys ever want to see like a huge jacked woman, look up what his wife looks like. It's crazy. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, but I think given those issues, I don't know if any other team but the Braves will take him. So I think he goes back.
He fits a lot of teams.
I can also see the Phillies as a Castellanos replacement.
Yeah. I don't know though. The Phillies like to buy younger guys. So they like to buy younger guys as of late.
Yeah, they need to get younger too.
Ozuna's going to be what, 30, 35, 36 by the end of the year?
No, I'm going to say he's going back to the Braves.
So he started his career with the Marlins. I could see him going back to Miami.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Miami buys these veteran guys that can hit, and then they ship them off at the deadline for prospects. I could see them doing that.
That'd be a good idea. Yeah.
I'm going to say the Marlins.
Okay, good pick. JT Realmuto.
This is a tough one.
Who's now 35 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he's still a good player.
His bat is just not what it used to be, though. But so
many teams need catchers.
Well, it's also one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. I think you'll go ahead.
I mean, this could really be anyone.
I know.
Who really needs a catcher? I mean,
I could tell you who really needs a catcher.
Who really needs one?
The Yankees need a right-handed catcher to platoon. I think you sign JT, you have him as your main catcher, and you put Wells in occasionally. Wells has proven that he is a streaky hitter. He's mainly a power guy. He's not really an average guy. He's a good defensive catcher, but I think JT fits there. The Yankees have needed a good defensive catcher for years. We've scraped by the last, I think since Posada retired, with kind of garbage that's like filled in at the end of our lineup, and we're just like, all right, the catcher's gonna hit last, and that's it. I think JT makes sense in New York. I say he gets a 2-year deal, and he shouldn't. I think he should get a 1-year deal because he's old, and I think that his bat is not the same. But he makes sense on the Yankees, so I'm going to say he goes to New York.
I'm actually going to steal from your playbook. I think he's going back home to the Marlins, where he started his career.
Really?
That'll excite the fan base.
Who's the Marlins catcher right now?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. I don't know who the Marlins catcher is.
Maybe he could be a DH too. I don't know. I just think it makes sense. Yeah, who's the catcher?
You can go to the next one, though. Okay, they have Augustine Ramirez there.
That doesn't matter.
He's pretty good. I don't know. Yeah.
Lucas Giolito.
Tough one.
I'm going to say my friend suggested I pick this team, and I think he could be right. I think he's going to the San Francisco Giants, who we haven't had on the
I like that. I like the Giants. I think he goes to Oakland. We haven't picked Oakland yet.
No, I have a pick for them coming up, but
Oakland is trying to buy, like I said, they're going to Vegas. They're trying to buy people. They bought Severino, which I thought was stupid, but they bought Severino.
And he hates it there. It's so funny.
No, and he hates it there. Everybody hates it there. But we'll see what it's like in Vegas. I think he goes to Oakland. I think it makes sense.
Okay, good pick. Chris Bassett. Okay, I believe he goes back to the Athletics.
I could see that.
He started his career. They need, good veteran who maybe will get 2 years. I think he's going to probably have to settle for 1, but I think he goes back to the Athletics.
And I think he goes to the Red Sox. I think he stays in the AL East. I think the Red Sox need a righty. They need a guy who's middle rotation. I talked about, I think, a starter earlier being the end of the rotation guy for them. I think they buy Bassett. I think it makes way too much sense. I'm going to say the Red Sox.
Okay. Let's see. Merrill Kelly.
He was a mess for the Rangers.
I know.
That's a really tough one.
I wonder, maybe the Dodgers is a fit starter.
It's possible. That makes sense. It's possible.
Could go back to Arizona, maybe.
I could see San Diego.
Yeah, if they don't get Nick
Um,
Martinez.
Yeah, I could see San Diego. He's a hard one because he's gonna cost a fair bit. Probably, I mean, he's probably in the line. Him and Bassett are in line with each other. It's a really tough one.
You know what? I'm going to pick a random one here. Cleveland Guardians.
We haven't picked Cleveland, so that's a
And
good
they're
one.
always competitive. They need
Yeah.
pitching. Every team needs pitching.
And that's a tough division. That's a cutthroat division.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Guardians.
Oh, I got one. I think he goes to Baltimore. I think Baltimore needs a righty. I think they need a starter. I think it's a good fit. I'm going to say he goes to Baltimore, and they're not afraid to spend either. So,
yeah. All right, Kazumo Akamoto from Japan. I'm going to say
this is the third baseman. But he's older, right?
First and third baseman, he's 29.
Yeah.
I think he's going to the New York Mets. I think he's a perfect fit to replace Pete Alonso at first. Right with that side.
I have heard them as a fit, the Mets. The other one, which I actually think they do, I think he goes to the Angels. The Angels have a history of signing these guys out of Japan. This is a guy who's older, who probably won't cost as much as some of the other big names.
He won't.
The problem is I also could see Murakami going to the Angels. So,
well, you got to wait and see what my prediction is.
I'm going to say he goes to the Angels. I think it makes sense. I think he goes to the Angels.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Shota Imanaga took the qualifying offer. So
yeah, that one's
that was a whole mess of a situation.
Well, he should have, because I don't know what he would have gotten in free agency.
Yeah. Devin Williams.
Okay, we're getting to the bigger names now.
Had a tough year for the Yankees, but his underlying numbers were good. I expect the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Giants, and other teams to be heavily in on him. But I think in the end, he goes to the Dodgers.
I do too. I think the
he
Dodgers,
gets 2 years, $38 million with an opt-out.
Well, the Dodgers loved him. The Dodgers loved him last in the free agency. They want during the trade deadline. The Dodgers and the Yankees were both in on him. I was happy when we got him. Actually, It might have been we got him out of free agency, didn't we? I can't remember if it was a trade or free agency.
We traded Caleb Durbin and
right
Nestor Cortez.
Yeah, you're right. So we got him via trade. The Dodgers were in on him at the trade deadline also. I think he goes to the Dodgers. I've been reading everything that says he goes to the Dodgers, and if a team can fix a guy, it's the Dodgers, and I think the Dodgers will try to fix him. Have fun. I don't want him.
I think he'll get a lot, though. I think he's getting 2 years, $38 million, which is a lot.
There is not a pitcher in baseball that pissed me off more than this guy did, so I'm happy to see him leave. So
yeah, he cost you a lot of games this year.
A lot of games.
Look, maybe he wasn't a good fit maybe in New York, but it sounds like the Yankees would still take him back, so we'll see.
Yeah, if you can get him at a cheap enough.
I bet he doesn't want to go back if I had to guess.
No, Yankees fans hate him, so
he might want to just not be in New York too. So I don't know if the Mets have been linked to him too. We'll see. I think Dodgers.
I think the Dodgers too.
All right, boy, you're right. We're heading to the bigger, exciting names, and now we're at the point where try to guess the actual contract. So I say Devin gets 2 years, 38 with an opt-out.
I think he gets 2 years, 35, and maybe gets a player option for a third year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Eugenio Suarez. I think he's going back to the Diamondbacks.
Oh, back to the Diamondbacks.
He had a great year there.
I think he goes back to Seattle. They liked him there, and they were competitive, and he drove in a lot of their runs. Another team that makes sense to me is the Yankees. I was hoping they would trade for him, but the reason they had interest, but Cashman said the ultimate reason they didn't go for him is because he was going into a free agency year, and they traded for McMahon instead before. We still have McMahon, so it would be hard. It would be very hard to fit.
Yeah, they really need another righty power bat.
It makes a lot of sense. I just don't know where it fits in logistically with McMahon is hard. Unless you can't even, the problem is Stanton eats your DH spot, so you can't really move. Yeah, the Yankees just make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I actually, until until yesterday, I had him going to the Mets because if they lose Pete Alonso, Suarez has no qualifying offer. He could be their DH, but I think if they sign Luis Ariz, they're not going to get Suarez. So I think they'll sign Luis. So no Mets, but I think he goes back to Arizona.
I'd like to see the Yankees. I don't think he signs with the Yankees, though. I don't think the Yankees spend on him to jump McMahon. I think that he goes. I was going to say the Giants, but the problem is Matt Chapman blocks that unless you slide Suarez to first base, maybe.
With Adames there too, I don't know.
I don't think it makes sense either. So
I actually though agree with that. It says 2 years. I think he gets 2 years, $42 million.
I think I was gonna say 2 years in somewhere in the 40 range makes sense. This one's really hard for me. What's a team that's trying to compete now? Maybe the Brewers. We haven't said the Brewers. I could see him going to Milwaukee.
Sure.
That makes a lot of sense. And Hoskins is coming off the books for them. I'm going to say Milwaukee.
Yeah, that does make sense. Josh Naylor already signed.
Yeah.
So this had him at 3 years, 50. He got a lot more than that, right? He got
It's a very smart move. Honestly, they didn't even pay that much for him, Seattle.
His AEV was 18 million, I think.
Yeah, I thought he would have asked for a lot more, but
not a bad deal at all.
It was a good deal for them.
Yeah. All right. Gleyber Torres took the qualifying offer, so
yep,
he's off the board. That was the right decision, probably. Michael King, are you ready for this one?
Yep, go for it.
I think he's going back to the Yankees.
So do I.
Everything away. They did not want to trade him. I read about how reluctant they were to trade him.
Everybody in New York loves this guy. Him and Judge are pretty close. I think there's no question he comes back to the Yankees, and I would love to have him. I think it'll be interesting to see where he slots in, though. Does he slot in as a reliever or a starter?
No, I think
he'll probably
start.
Well, you sign him as a starter, yes. But the question becomes when everybody's healthy, what do you do? Because you have Schlittler and Gill. And you're getting a couple other healthy guys back. I'm trying to think of you're going to have a lot of arms in the mix. So the question is, where does he slot in? I think he goes to New York, though. I don't think there's a question.
And I think he gets 3 years, $75 million with an opt out. The only concern about Michael King, though, is there are
3 years, 75 is big.
There are people who believe his elbow is about to explode. So
it could. I mean, he's never pitched this many innings in his entire career, in his entire baseball career, even in college.
Honestly, if the Yankees don't sign him, then I'm worried because
I agree.
They know him more than anyone.
I think 3 years. I think he takes 3 years, like 61, 3 or 61 or 62. I think 70's pushing it, but the Yankees spend, so it's possible.
Yeah, so I think we both think he's going back to the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Edwin Diaz.
I
think the Dodgers will be heavily involved, but I do believe in the end he will be back with the Mets for 4 years, $92 million.
This is one where I think Brian Cashman absolutely unloads his pocketbook for. They've talked about Edwin Diaz for years. They enjoy him. Every time they face the Mets, he shoves. They have a very hard time hitting him.
I mean, he's one of the best, if not the best closer in baseball.
I think he's the best. I think he's one of the best closers in baseball. I think the Yankees need a closer desperately, like a lockdown closer. I think this is the time for Cashman to say, take my money. I think him and King make a lot of sense in New York. I think if you choose to spend on one, Cashman will spend on Diaz.
Are you okay giving up the draft picks, the 2nd and the 5th?
That's the hard part. Is do you think they do it? But historically, the Yankees haven't really cared much about draft picks.
They really haven't. Yeah.
No. So I'm going to say he goes to New York. The Yankees, I hope they do it. Please do it.
What's the contract?
I think it's a big deal. I think it could be. How old is he now? He's 32.
Yeah.
I say it's 3 years, maybe 85.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they spend big. I think the bidding for Diaz is going to be massive. I think
he'll get 4 or 5 years, around 100.
Yeah, this projected contract is way too low.
Yeah, that's low.
Especially because there's not a lot of closers on the market that are like that.
I think he goes to the Nets. He gets 4 years, 90. So
that's possible.
All right. Zach Gallen, who was given the qualifying offer, who had a horrible season.
This is a really hard one.
I could see this being the Dodgers.
I was going to say, if a team can fix a starter, it's the Dodgers. I think he's still got a lot left in the tank.
I'm actually going to say, though, I'm going to say he goes to the Phillies.
The Phillies make sense, too. They made sense at the deadline also.
Yeah, because they're going to be losing Ranger Suarez in my prediction, so I believe they will replace him with Zach Gallen.
They're going to lose Ranger, and
wait, they do have two righties though. They have
Wheeler's coming back, and Nola had a really rough year, but he'll be back.
Doesn't matter. I think they sign Zach Gallen.
I think he goes to the Dodgers.
I think he gets 2 years. 2 years. 38 with an opt out.
I think it's 2 years. I think it's 2 years, 28. I don't think there's a lot of teams that are in on this guy. I think they saw his numbers fall down and he's getting up there in age. I think the Dodgers can fix him. And I think that's the team he goes to.
Could be. All right. Trent Grisham is back.
He's back in New York.
How do you feel about that?
He had a really good year, and I really like the player. I just don't think he's worth $22 million.
He's not.
No. And
I don't know if he's worth $16 million.
No, the fact that the Yankees extended that, even like sent out the qualifying offer, is shocking. They did it because there's a whole article I read about it. They did it because they didn't think he would take it. There was a strong mistake. And it was a very bad mistake by the New York front office. Again, another example of why Cashman, I believe, needs to hang it up. And I think it may be a matter of time before.
I thought he would take it. He'd be crazy not to take it.
It's a stupid deal to offer. But he is 29, turning 30. He's one of the better outfielders on the board.
And if that ballpark, he can hit it.
I don't hate it. And he was so clutch for us, not in the postseason, but he was very clutch in the regular season. The reason I don't like it is because I thought the Yankees were going to clear the way for Spencer Jones, and this just clouds things a bit. So I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. It's just a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. All right, next, Rangers Suarez. This is a tough one. He's a good pitcher. He's a contact pitcher, not a big strikeout guy.
Phillies don't love him. I don't think he goes back to Philly.
I think he's leaving.
Bryce, who's one of the biggest, my friend Bryce is one of the biggest Philly fans on the planet, does not believe Rangers coming back. They don't like him enough, not for what he wants.
This is kind of random, but I'm going to say Toronto.
I think he gets overpaid. And what team overpays for their players more than the Mets? I think he goes to the Mets. That is my prediction.
I don't think he goes to the Mets because he's 30 and he has a qualifying offer. And
the Mets don't care. They paid for Verlander and Scherzer in a year where they overpaid.
No qualifying offers, though.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
They were older. They were 40. They'll sign 40-year-olds.
Okay, here's another one I could see. So the Mets, yeah. I could also see.
No, that's your prediction. That's your prediction.
But I could see the Angels too, though. The Angels makes a lot of sense too. The Angels overpay for starters, and they did for Kikuchi, and it actually worked out very well. He's shoves. But I'm going to stick with the Mets. I think the Mets overpay, and they get Ranger.
I think Suarez gets 6 years, 140.
I think he gets about 5 years, and he goes for 125 to the Mets.
God help us if that happens. I don't hate him. He's a good pitcher.
I don't think it's a bad move for them, though. That's the crazy thing. I think Ranger's very hard to hit. He's a very heavy sinker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good pitcher. Okay. Top 10. Here we go.
Top 10, finally.
Number 10. Munetaka Murakami. The top Japanese free agent. I believe he will be going to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Really?
To replace Shohei Ohtani as their Japanese superstar. To get the fans back in, since that organization is such an embarrassment.
I could see it, but I will have him joining Team Japan, otherwise known as the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think the Dodgers buy every single big Japan name, and it just makes sense. They make so much money off of their marketing in Japan alone that I'm not even looking at this from like a baseball standpoint. From a business standpoint, this makes sense for the Dodgers.
Where is he going to play?
They will make a ton of money off of it.
Where is he going to play?
That's the question, right? Because you have Freddie there. I think he plays third base because Muncy has clearly shown that he's aging. I think you slide Muncy to second. I think it's an easier spot for him to play. I think you have Muncy, Betts, Murakami, and Freeman. And I think baseball rolls over in its grave during this. They hate this. It causes a lockout maybe in 27.
God help us.
I think the Dodgers pay and they defer his money like they defer everybody else. And I think he gets a massive deal. I think he maybe gets, I'm going to say he gets 7 years, maybe 7 years, like 300, and half of it's deferred.
I think he gets 7 years, 170. I don't think he's getting that much. I think he's getting
300. All right, then maybe we revise. I think 300's steep. Maybe we do 7. I think he gets a 7-year deal with the Dodgers. I think it's 185 million, and I think it's deferred. A lot of it.
God, I hope not.
I have a feeling.
You could be right. I mean, he's not playing. He's not even a good fielder.
No, I mean they spotted Haesung Kim and Yamamoto in Japan having dinner with this guy. So
God,
I don't
send him across town to the Angels. They need him more.
Yeah, I mean, if the Angels don't sign that other guy that I said, then I could see them being in on Murakami.
Akamoto, he's going to the Mets, so
we'll have to wait and see.
Akamoto is a done deal. He's a Met.
Okay, we'll see. I think he goes to the Angels, but we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised by the Mets either, though.
Okay, number 9, Pete Alonso, the lifelong Met, the all-time home run leader who had a very great season for them. I believe David Stearns does not want to sign Pete Alonso long-term, and I believe there will be many teams in on him, Giants, maybe the Yankees, but I believe at the end of the day, he will be going to the Boston Red Sox.
God help us if that happens.
To replace Alex Bregman.
I will be throwing stuff everywhere. But so I told you that the Yankees are going to buy Edwin Diaz and they're going to spend a lot to do it. I don't know about Pete Alonso because the Yankees also really like Bregman. So the question is, can the Yankees get all 3 of them? The answer is no. So which ones do they buy? That's going to be I'm very curious to find out. I'm going to say they pass on Bregman. They love Bregman. The Yankees, he kills Bregman. Or Bregman has killed the Yankees historically. But they want Pete Alonso. They need a big first baseman. They need another power bat. With Jazz leaving, even though Jazz is not a huge power bat. But I think Pete Alonso goes to the Yankees. And if he doesn't go to the Yankees, then I could see him fitting in a team like the Giants. That's another team that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Giants, I could see. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could use him.
The Giants make sense.
The Orioles.
Yeah, I would say the Padres, but the Padres are selling. They're not trying to buy.
They can't spend. I think he goes to the Red Sox and he gets 4 years, $120 million.
I hate the Red Sox so much. But it makes sense. It does really make sense.
And it's sad for me to say he's been a great Met.
No, he's not going to the Mets. He's not going back. No,
I don't think so. Not that
I think he goes. I think him and Edwin Diaz get on a subway and they go to the Bronx, and that is that.
So you have him as a Yankee. That's your prediction.
I have the 2 Mets as 2 Yankees. Yes, I do.
Wow. I think. Look,
and Michael King. So those are my 3.
This is it for Pete Alonso. He had a great career. He was a good trooper. I met him at the San Francisco at the Golden Gate Bridge.
That was very.
I met him and his lovely wife. He's a great dude. I do not blame him for what happened this year. He had an amazing season. He was the only guy worth anything in the club.
That's all he does for the Mets. He rakes every year and they blow it no matter what with that guy.
Yeah, but it might just be time to switch it up.
Oh, it definitely is for them. If I
were Mets, someone else who's a righty who can do it.
That'll be another prediction of mine that you'll have to wait and see.
All right. Well, we're in the top 10 now. This is, I think, Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
So I think if they lose Alonso, I think they could be in on him. I think Texas could be in on him. I think Toronto could be in on him. I think
Toronto's a good one.
The Reds, I've heard linked to him.
Yeah,
but I think at the end of the day, he goes back to the Phillies.
The Reds could really use that. The Phillies don't want to re-sign him. Bryce was telling me that he hopes they don't.
Why not?
But he just had a monumental season for him. But at his age, you only typically tend to see home run hitters like that decline. And what team likes to spend on declining power bats? The Anaheim Angels. I think he goes to the Angels, and that's the big splash the Angels make. They sign that guy from Japan that you think goes to the Mets. I think they get him at first base, and then I think they get Schwarber and have Schwarber as their main DH.
I don't think he goes to the Mets. I know he goes to the Mets.
Okay, all right. Well, regardless, I think Schwarber's going to Anaheim. I think if he doesn't go to Anaheim, he goes back to the Phillies. Those are the only two spots I think that make sense. The Mets
back to the Phillies for 3 years, $120 million.
Yeah, I could see 3 years. I could see 3 years like 110, 115.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Angels spend, and they spend stupidly as they always do. So I'm going to say either Anaheim or Philly. I'm going to pick the Angels, though.
All right. Top 7. Bo Bichette. This is a tough one.
This is very hard because I think he fits in in New York, but I think he's going to want too much money is the problem.
He's 28.
And the Yankees are already going to spend on Diaz and Alonso. This one makes a lot of sense if you're ready to move on from Volpe. But I think the Yankees
signing everybody.
No. I don't think the Yankees signed Bichette. I think they have interest in him. I think if the Yankees get a shortstop, they trade for one, a cheap one. God, though, I really want him to be a Yankee, but I don't think.
You know where I could see Bichette going, honestly? Phillies.
Yeah.
You know,
they got Trey Turner there. That's the problem.
They want to replace Alec Boehm, though.
Yeah, Boehm's been brutal.
So I think Bichette goes to the Phillies and he gets 5 years. No, he gets 6 years, $150 million.
Bichette's a really hard one. I don't think he's going back to Toronto. It's been made very clear if you listen to the broadcasts in the World Series that he is not going to go back there. What's the team?
I actually think he'd White. I think that's second most likely, but the reason I don't have him going back there is because of a later prediction I have.
I don't see him in Toronto again. I think they were ready to move on. I would say Cincinnati, but McLean is going to be healthy again this year, so I don't see them as a fit there. Finding Bichette a fit is hard. I thought New York makes the most sense, but I already have too many people signing there, so I can't do that.
You really do.
I'm going to say that he goes to an NL team. Which NL team, though? I don't know, but I think he goes to the NL, and I think the problem is the Cubs make a lot of sense, but I think Swanson's still there.
Yeah, they have Swanson.
Season. Yeah.
They're going to need a lefty.
I could see him going to the Braves. I know that's a weird fit because I don't think the Braves are buying a lot. But it could make sense. It depends how much money he wants. I mean, they're saying 5 years, 130. I don't think he gets that. I think he gets like a 2 or 3 year deal somewhere for under 100. He's a really hard guy to find a fit for. I mean, who do you think? I
said Phillies.
If you didn't go to the Phillies,
sense too.
Who?
Braves also make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think the Braves made sense. But how competitive the Braves want to be. I think you have a window with Acuna and you got to spend. So you know what? I'm going to say he goes to Atlanta.
And what's the money?
I think he gets a 3-year, $82 or $83 million contract. Okay. I think that's the big spend for the Braves.
Could be. Next, Dylan Cease.
This is a hard one.
I think he's going to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who need pitching.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to sign a short-term deal. I think he's going to get 3 years, $110 million with an opt-out after 1 year. And I think he goes to the Angels.
The Angels make a lot of sense, but I have Schwarber going there. And if the Angels are going to spend on a hitter, which they typically do, they don't usually spend on pitchers.
I know, and I think they need to change that.
No, I agree, and they may overpay for Cease, and it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But
the Padres,
the Padres are. He's not going to go back to the Padres. They want to unload money off the books.
Wouldn't shock me if it's the Dodgers, actually, but I'm going to say the Angels.
The Dodgers make sense. scary. It's a scary thought, but it does make sense. But I think the Dodgers have a lot of righties, too many, maybe, especially with losing Kershaw. So I don't think the Dodgers want 5 righties in their rotation. That's too many. So I'm going to say that Cease goes to the Mets. The Mets need a starter. I think they're going to pay, and I don't blame them for going after Cease. I heard this on MLB Network also yesterday that if the Mets could take a gamble on Cease, but it could blow up in their face like it has with a lot of these.
I can actually see it. They've wanted him in the past. They've wanted him before. Well, you have them getting Rangers Flores though, and Cease. I don't think that's happening. But
I don't know. The Mets are going to spend. They always spend, so I could see them.
They'll spend. Yeah, they've usually stayed away from qualifying offer guys.
Well, another one with Cease I thought of too is the Orioles. The Orioles need a ace. They've needed an ace, and they got rid of Grayson Rodriguez, who
I have one coming.
Is not an ace. So the Baltimore one, though, yeah, I want to reserve him for the other guy too. But I think Baltimore's a good fit. I think the Mets is a good fit. I'm going to say he goes to the Mets. The Mets spend on him and Suarez. I think those are their additions.
What's the contract?
I'm going to say maybe 4 years, 128 million, something like that.
Okay, random.
Yeah, these are just random. I don't know what numbers make sense, but
alrighty. Top 5. Tatsuya Imai. So if I actually think if there's any starting pitcher the Mets sign, it's this guy because he's 27, and David Stearns likes young guys. But I had the Mets until today.
Yeah.
And I changed it to I believe he will be going to the San Francisco Giants.
So do I. That's what I heard about. Yeah. That's the only thing I heard about this guy was how much he loves the Bay Area.
And a lot of these Japanese guys want to go to the West Coast. I don't see the Dodgers handing out just because they have so much money, but it wouldn't.
Dodgers are not going to do it for a pitcher. They do it for a bat.
Right.
They're not.
They already have enough pitchers signed to long-term deals. I think the Angels signed someone else. So I think he'll be a Giant.
Yeah, I don't think he goes to the Angels either. I think the Angels signed the first Japanese guy that you think goes to the Mets. The Angels make sense here, though, too.
They do.
I think it's between the Angels and the Giants. And since you said the Angels, you said the Giants, I'm going to split the difference and say the Angels. And
I believe he gets 6 years. I think he gets 6 years, 150. I think the bidding is going to go at high.
I think the bidding is going to go nuts for this guy because he had better numbers than Yamamoto did, I believe.
And he's 27.
Yeah, and he's a very young guy. So
and no qualifying offer.
You know, the other one, I could see him also going to Toronto, but because Toronto, like these Japanese guys, they almost spent on Ohtani.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to say Toronto.
Okay.
I'm going to say Toronto.
And what's the contract?
I think it's a big contract. I think it pushes. I think it's 6 years, 212.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they spend a lot.
That would be nuts.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Really. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Top 4. Alex Bregman. This is a big one. He had a great season with the Red Sox. I've always liked him. I think the Mets and Yankees will poke around. I think the Phillies will poke around.
Yep.
But I think the Red Sox will try to keep him, but I actually think he's going to the Tigers.
That's exactly where I have him go.
Last year they were second. I think whether they trade Tyreek Skubal or not, they're gonna
buy offense. They need another bat.
Yeah, they want to win with him this year.
Yeah. I think they go Bregman too. I think the Tigers go Bregman, and if it's not the Tigers, it's the Mets. I think the Mets will inquire about him. And then
there's no qualifying offer.
No, and the problem is the Mets will need to replace Alonso.
Yeah.
The question is, who do they do it with? Or
they could sign Bregman and then sign Okamoto to play first.
Right. Do they do it with an assortment of guys? But I think the Tigers makes way too much sense. The third base power bat to go with Torres and Riley Green, it just makes a lot of sense. I think it goes to the Tigers.
And I think to lower the AAV, they stretch it out and he gets 7 years, 150 million.
I don't think he's getting 7 years. I think that he takes 5 and they maybe turn the last one. I don't know, but I think maybe they turn the last one into a player option, like 4 in a player option or 5 in a player option, something like that. And I think he probably gets like 150, 160, something like that.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger. This is the big one. Cody Bellinger. I believe he will have heavy interest from the Mets. It's been reported. I believe the Yankees will try to keep him. I think the Dodgers will poke around. The Giants might poke around. The Angels will poke around. Maybe even the Reds. At the end of the day, I believe he will return to the Bronx. I believe he will stay with the Yankees for 6 years, $150 million.
We love him. I mean, that would be a career ender. I mean, he would sign and stay with us, and we do those contracts a lot. The problem is, I have the Yankees spending on Pete, and so if they spend on Pete, they won't go after Bellinger. And I think with them getting Grisham and wanting to make room for Spencer Jones, I think they let Cody go. I think Bellinger goes to either the Mets or the Dodgers. The Dodgers, if the Dodgers get Murakami, they will not get Bellinger. So it's which do they want more?
The Dodgers is very interesting because he was a Dodger, obviously.
And he's been seen in LA recently a couple times. Now his girlfriend is from LA, and he's still very close with the Dodger players. The problem is him and Kershaw are very tight. Kershaw's not there anymore. I didn't say he goes back to the Dodgers. I'd like to see him go back to the Dodgers. I loved him when he played for the Dodgers. The Dodgers are my second favorite team. I would like to see him go there if he doesn't go to the Yankees. I think he goes to the Dodgers. I don't think it's a big contract. So I know he wants a 6-year deal, but Bellinger's never gotten the big deal. He's always gotten these.
And by the way, he shouldn't. I would stay hell away from him. But
I think the Dodgers give him a 2-year 75 deal, something like that, if they don't get Murakami. If they do, he will not be in a Dodger uniform, but we'll have to wait.
I think if the Mets, I don't think this will happen. So if they're able to trade Brandon Nimmo, I think Bellinger becomes more in play. If they won't, I don't want them to do it if they can't, because I don't want Bellinger, Nimmo. I don't want Bellinger, Nimmo locked up for the next 6 years.
Yeah, I don't. The Mets make sense, but not as much as the Dodgers do. They need another power bat, and they don't have a lot of lefties. They tried to with Conforto, and it didn't work. So
because it's Conforto, I could have told you that.
I know.
All right, top two. Framber Veld. Why is he number 2? He should have been number 2.
Yes, he should. He's so good. Every year he's good.
This is going to shock the world. I believe the Baltimore Orioles go big and sign Framber Valdez to be the race. And I
have a weird one for you. Okay?
And I think they give him 7 years, $170 million.
I have a weird one for you. We talked about them relocating to Vegas. I think the A's spend the money and they sign they don't do this, but they did it with Severino last year. I think they do it with Valdez this time, and they spend, I'd say, $248 million on a 4 or 5 year deal for Framber. And they have Framber and Severino, and they have another big starter that I said that they signed.
My jaw would drop to the floor.
It would be stunning, but I think they do it. I think you're going to see either this year or next year, the A's will start spending money because they're under different ownership and they are moving to a big name city. They're going to want to spend money and they want people to watch their games. So I think that Framber goes to Oakland.
I'm going to revise I think Orioles, but I think 7 years, 160.
Wow. Yeah, I think he gets in the 200 range.
That's insanity.
Yeah. He's worth it.
And
how old is he? 32? Yeah, he's not super old.
He threw his own catcher.
Look at the Fried contract. Fried was around the same age, and he got 13, and he's been more successful than Fried.
Yeah. All right. And number 1, Kyle Tucker, who didn't actually have the best season, but is still going to get a lot of money because of his track record and his potential. I think this will come down. I think the Phillies will poke around, but I think this will come down. I think Yankees will poke around too, especially if Bellinger leaves.
I love it. I'd love if they spent only on him. If they spent on him and didn't spend on anybody else, other than maybe like adding Michael King and a couple other pieces, I'm fine with that. Or I think
they're keeping Bellinger though, so I can't.
I have them going the different route where they spend on Alonso and Diaz and King, and that's it.
I think it'll come down to the Dodgers and the Cubs. No, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. And I think he goes to Toronto for 12 years, 400 million deferred with some deferred money.
I think he either goes to Toronto or Phillies. And I think he's a slam dunk fit in Philadelphia. This is their period. This is their time.
Especially if they lose Schwarber.
They need somebody to replace Schwarber. This is their time to win. They are Harper, Wheeler, Nola. All these guys are getting older. Trey Turner, they need to win now. This is the piece they go get. I've talked about it with all of my friends, and it makes the most sense in the world. I think he goes to the Phillies. I think he gets $425 million over six or 7 years. And I think the Phillies are a contender again. And, you got to see if you can get past the Dodgers.
He's not getting 400 for 6 years.
I think he's getting 400 probably over 7. You're right. Because he's 29. So you're
probably over 12.
Over 12?
Because
you know what? I could see him doing 8 or 10.
Keep the AAV down.
Yeah, I could see 10. I could see 10 maybe.
Yeah, it could be 10 or 11.
10 years, 425, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
so it's the Phillies your prediction.
Yeah, I think
I can see that.
There's no question he goes to Philly.
I think they'd rather just keep Schwarber, but maybe if they want to inject some youth.
If they don't keep Schwarber, which I don't think they will, they're going to go after Tucker. And I think Tucker's going to be the preferred guy.
All right.
So yeah, that's it. Those are our predictions.
Okay, quickly, because I don't want to take more time, but quickly, any Yankees trade predictions?
2 deals. We'll do 2 deals each team that we'd like to see made. I don't know if they actually happen. Number 1 is the Skeens deal. I think if they do Skeens, okay, I think if they do the Skeens deal, it paves the way for them to sign JT Realmuto. Here's why. They're going to have to give up Ben Rice. If they give up Ben Rice, because this is what they were asking for at the deadline, the Pirates. They're asking for Ben Rice, Spencer Jones, and I think these 2 other pitching prospects. And the Yankees were thinking about it and didn't pull the trigger because they didn't feel like they needed it at that point, and they weren't sure what direction they were going to go at. I think if they go after Skeens, those are the exact players I think that go. I think that makes way for them to sign JT and for them to sign Edwin Diaz. I don't think then that they would need to spend on King or another starter. I'd like to see them do it. I think Skeens is the best pitcher in baseball. I think he will be for the next 15 years if he stays healthy. Maybe not 15, probably the next decade. Decade for sure. 15 is a stretch because most players don't have 15-year careers. But that's a trade I'd like to see them make. I think if they don't, I think they could go after Nolan Arenado's one they talked about doing a couple different times. The problem with Arenado is he's not hitting the same, and I think he still has like another year, and it's a big contract. Yeah, I could also see the Yankees. I could see them going for Machado too, and I like the Machado move. I think it would make sense.
That'd be exciting.
Salary, but that would be great. He's the best. When he's healthy, Machado's probably like one of the top 5 hitters in the sport. And he's a great defender. And then you could have him and McMahon. You could have McMahon off the bench to platoon with him. And McMahon can also play first or the outfield. So that one makes a lot of sense. Those are kind of 3-ish.
Yeah.
What about the Mets?
I think the Mets definitely need number 1. I think if Skubal gets traded, it will be to the Mets.
I 100% agree with that.
It could also be the Dodgers. I just feel like
I don't.
We don't need everyone.
They're not gonna give up what they don't. They do have the farm system to give it up, but I just don't think they do it.
I think
they do need another lefty.
Prospects where they can do it.
And the Mets do. They'd have to give up the Tong guy though.
They'd have to give up Tong. They'd have to give up Jet Williams. They'd probably have to give up Peterson or Beatty or someone on the major league team as well.
Yeah.
But I do think if he gets traded, he'll be a Met. But right now, I think the Tigers are going to try to win with him. They're going to sign Bregman and try to win this year. So if not him, I think the Mets trade for either Joe Ryan or
Joe Ryan's a great fit.
What's the Brewers guy? Peralta?
Yeah, Peralta's a good one too. I think
one of the 2. I think they trade Jeff McNeil to the Mariners.
Yeah.
They've always wanted him.
McNeil's loved, and Seattle's always
they've wanted him for years.
Yeah. So what would they get in return? Like now, you think some prospects or something?
I would literally take anything.
Yeah.
He's part of.
Then that would make room for the Arias move that you said.
Yeah, exactly, and he could replace Jorge Polanco in Seattle.
And I think Arias is a better hitter. So or Polanco, they're both better hitters.
McNeil's part of the rotten core that has failed us Mets fans.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think we trade Kodai Senga to the San Francisco Giants. I don't know why, but
I think if the Yankees don't get Skeens, which they probably won't, that's
they're
like
not getting
wild,
Skeens.
no, it's a wild, crazy throw. They probably go after Peralta. I
The
think
Mets have more pieces to get Skeens than the Yankees do.
yeah, but I don't know. The Mets seem keen on Skubal from what I've been hearing.
I think if he gets traded, he'll be a Met.
The Yankees have too many lefties. They will not go after Skubal. I know that. They will probably go after Peralta, and I like Peralta. He's the cheaper option. I just don't know what you give up for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting, but that's my Yankees predictions. There's gonna be a lot of moves I hope they make. So
Yeah. And
we'll wait and see.
you know, I'm smiling wearing a Mets hat today, but don't think for 1 second that I'd forgiven them for the
I'm forgiving the Yankees for this past season,
2025 disaster season.
and then to get embarrassed in the World Series that I went to almost every game of, also disgusting. So
Yeah, that was rough.
yeah, but at least they got there. So
Yeah. Well,
in a year where I did not think they would. So
yeah. Well, thank you, Ryan, for taking the time.
thanks for having me.
And we'll have to see if these predictions come true. Maybe we could laugh at this in a year.
Absolutely. Well, stay tuned. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you.